So, Swan, final three, how are you feeling?
I'm a mix of emotions. I'm kind of I just lost part one by 1 point. I lost another comp by 1 point. And so I'm kind of like moody. But yesterday I was really excited. Well, first of all, yesterday I was upset because Ari lost or had to go at Final Four, and it's very sad. But I'm also excited because I'm literally guaranteed Final Two, which is kind of insane. And usually to be in that position, you have to be a GOAT. But I am very much not a GOAT. I've been playing this game since day one. Literally, like I flipped the first vote. And I'm really proud of the game I've played, and I think I have a compelling case to make against both Flynn and Nathan. And I hope that the jury will see that and see that, just this perception they've had that Flynn is winning the game because somebody just decided that doesn't mean that he should win at the end of the day. And I think I've been really well positioned throughout the whole game, and that's why I'm sitting right where I am right now and why I'm guaranteed final two. So a mix of emotions.
All right. Well, last time we spoke was when you had won, the BBD Awards HOH, and
Yeah.
ultimately, kind of, how did you feel with how that week panned out for you? And do you feel like the right decision was made at the end of the day?
It was a little stressful just because I kind of realized after I won I really didn't need the HOH, I don't think. But I think it's important to win end game comps and to show that I'm an active player in the game. So I didn't mind winning it. And I got my ideal target out really. I know Vlyn wanted Nathan up and out, but that just really didn't make sense for my game and would have burned a jury vote. And also like keeping Nathan is part of why I'm in the situation I am right now, where like I'm literally guaranteed final two because Nathan's gonna take me. Because Nathan made a final two with me the round before, so I couldn't take Nathan out. It also would have been really rude after asking him to not use the co-HOH power, so I couldn't put Nathan up. Obviously, people wanted to know why Vlyn wasn't going up, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be targeted if he wins veto. So I put up Steves and Robin, who were my targets for the week. Ideally, Steves would go. It was like splitting hairs between which of them went. It was just kind of like, well, Robin hasn't won a single comp, and Steves won that one, so I guess he can go. Plus, as we've discussed, like Steves is a really good talker and very likable and funny, and I think he could have talked himself into a better position the longer he stayed. So that was my ideal target. I was kind of thrown that so OTEV came down to me, Ari, and Vlyn, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I can throw, Vlyn can win, and then nobody can be like, why didn't Swan put Vlyn on the block? Guess what? I couldn't. He won veto. But instead, Ari didn't throw to him, which I thought was weird. So I threw and let it go down to Ari and Vlyn, and I assumed Ari was going to throw, and then she didn't. So she had to look silly again for not using veto and saving Vlyn again. But at the end of the day, everything worked out. I got to use my vote blocker, which I was nervous I wasn't going to get to use. I think Vlyn just wanted to like cover his bases with Zeeves and like look good and like jury manage him and not have to vote for him. So that's why he asked me to block his vote. Which I did mention that to Zeeves in my goodbye message. I was like, clearly this was a ploy, but like he was gonna vote you out. And yeah, we always love a tiebreaker vote. It's like the closest vote of the season was my HOH, and I got to tiebreak, so that's fun. But yeah, all in all, I think the week went well. It set me up well going into the next week too. Because nobody was going to target me except for maybe Robin, and Robin couldn't win a comp. So bloop.
All right. Um, so I guess, it's just sparks my curiosity because, we'll go into final five where for the A list, you guys felt like Nathan should be the target there, but Nathan goes on to win the veto. He goes on to win the next HOH. So looking back in hindsight, are you still good with, the move to not take Nathan there? Or like, is there regret over the fact that Ari ended up being taking the fall for this? Or do you feel like you still stand by the move?
It's very sad that Ari was the collateral damage. Um, However, I don't regret the move because, like I said earlier, like it put me in this position here. I'm literally getting taken to final two and think I have a legitimate chance to beat both of them. Um, I've like I just knew after Ari played the veto on Vlyn and pissed Nathan off that Nathan really had nobody else. And so I was going to be a priority for his game because he didn't feel like he had anybody else in the game. So by keeping Nathan around, it was basically like a fail safe for this exact scenario where like my allies have to start leaving because Nathan stays around. And I knew he could win comps. And so I knew he wouldn't be targeting me. I knew I would be safe if he won those comps, and that's exactly what happened. I think the biggest gamble was if he won final HOH and me or Ari had to go. Vlyn and I never explicitly talked about it before Nathan won HOH because I didn't want to come across as like, I don't trust you. Do we need to talk about this? I wanted to just be kind of like unspoken trust, like, I know you're gonna take me, not Ari. I'm okay with that. So that was the biggest gamble, was obviously the worst case scenario of Nathan winning HOH at Final Four, and he did. But again, like I was confident Vlyn would take me, and that would set me up for this exactly perfect uh final three where I'm getting taken no matter what. So I really don't regret their move, and I actually think it was a really good move on my part. Especially if Nathan wins and takes out Vlyn and then takes me to the final. Like the people will uh, the jury will appreciate Nathan for taking the shots and winning the comps, but like I socially maneuvered and had a lot of say in the actual gameplay, whereas Nathan really didn't. So I don't know. I think it's a good move, and I think it could win me the game.
Interesting. We'll circle back to that. So, so yeah, so going into the final five, Vlyn wins head of household. Um, Nathan wins the veto, and so at this point, was Robin just a clear like we're gonna go ahead and get Robin out? Did you have any considerations of targeting Ari?
No, absolutely not. Come on. Like Ari was my true final two, my ride or die, and I rarely have one of those that I'm willing to stay completely loyal to, and she was the one. So it never crossed my mind to target Ari. Plus, like, Robin wasn't closely aligned with me, and Robin wasn't winning comps, whereas like Ari could win comps and is closely aligned with me. It's just like Ari staying in that situation like just is hugely beneficial for me. Because I needed her to help me beat Nathan in Final Four HOH, which obviously didn't happen, and I knew Robin couldn't do that. And then yeah, it was just like that was my girl. That was my number one. So no, it didn't ever cross my mind. And I'm kind of a little glad Nathan won that veto too, because again, like it puts me in this position where like I don't have to vote out Nathan. I don't have to burn that jury vote. I don't have to. I have somebody who's strong in comps who's going to keep me and prioritize me. So Robin going really was kind of ideal in that scenario.
All right, period. So yeah, going into the final four, you guys do the solve for X. HOH, you're up 3-1, but Nathan ends up pulling out the last 3 points.
Day
So
fucking
what
17.
so what was the feeling when you saw the final result of Nathan being HOH?
I was gutted. I was extremely disappointed in myself. I was also just like sad. Because I knew it meant me or Ari going. And like we've probably been like high on our own supply, but like the A-list fucking slapped as an alliance, and we like really worked and played so hard, and like just like it's one of the best alliances I've ever been in. And Vlyn and Ari are both just like great people and so fun to be around. And it would have been like just a perfect scenario of us like actually being the final three. That would be so fucking cool. And obviously that didn't happen, and that was the one scenario in which that couldn't happen. So I was devastated, but at the same time I was pretty confident that Vlyn was going to take me instead of Ari. So I wasn't worried, at least from a game perspective, because like I said, Ari, well, I mean, actually everybody in Final Four would have taken me to Final Two. Let's be real. Um, so Ari or Nathan going, whichever one, they're still gonna take me to Final Two if they made Final Three. So it was very sad and upsetting, but like obviously, because obviously we knew the legacy veto was going to be pulled out and Blinn would be safe, and so it was just a kind of like sad moment. But we also like had fun with each other and like spilled all of our little secrets that we hadn't told each other and like kikied and had a good time. And like Ari went out on a really good note, and it wasn't, it didn't feel negative, even though it was very sad.
Okay, so you, Ari does kind of like let you guys know, hey, I'm kind of okay to like bow out here. So, but
Hmm.
do you feel pretty confident that even if she, didn't throw in the towel, Blinn would have still evicted her regardless?
Yeah, I mean, he told me straight up, like, I asked him, like, as soon as Nathan won HOH, like, hey, are we good? Do we need to talk? And he was like, no, it's fine. And then shortly after that is when Ari told me she's thinking about telling Vlyn she wants to go. So I was pretty confident in my relationship with Vlyn that he would take me. And honestly, not even just because of my social relationship, but also, like, I had proved strong in competitions. I almost beat Nathan in the Final Four HOH. And so Vlyn saw me I knew Vlyn would see me as an asset that's strong in comps and able to beat Nathan to take him to for one of us to win final HOH. So yeah, I was pretty confident that I was safe with Vlyn. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
So, good. So now we head into the final three. And part one has been completed. Obviously, it came down to a close tied race with you guys, but Blinn ends up pulling it out. And you expressed a lot of uh, disappointment in your diary room that you feel like you may have helped him win the part one.
Yeah, it was really stupid of me. I wasn't gonna share notes with him, and then he like shared his notes. So I was like, okay, I'll share mine. And then today he mentioned something about the main chat, and I was like, oh yeah, I actually made a list or made a Word doc of everything. And once I said that, I was like, well, fuck, I have to send it to him. So I'm really annoyed because I don't think he would have gotten that last Kathy point without it. Um, and that's a move he could like, because like if I'm telling the jury I was wanting to win to cut Vlyn makes the argument, well, he helped, like, he literally gave me notes. He helped me win final HOH. So I'm just going to look like a dumbass, and it's fine. I'm like beating myself up about it probably too much. But yeah, I'm just annoyed with myself. I'm annoyed with myself for sharing the notes. I'm annoyed with myself for not winning. Yeah, I'm just annoyed. That's I'm just annoyed.
So, going into part two, do you feel like you're planning on throwing this, or are you going to be gunning to win it?
Definitely gunning to win it. As tempting as throwing all of this is, because that would be really fucking funny. I don't think jury will look kindly on throwing final HOH comps. So I'm definitely going to be gunning for it. Honestly, my ideal scenario here is actually though. I mean, I'm still not throwing, but Nathan winning final HOH and cutting Vlyn would be the best thing for me because Vlyn goes and I don't have to like burn him on the way out by doing it. But I still am going to try my best, and whatever happens is meant to happen and how it's going to be and how it's going to go. So I am going to give it my all, give it my best, and see what happens.
All right. So, should you win final HOH, so do you have a set idea on what you would do, or is that still up in the air for you?
It's still up in the air. This is why I wanted Ari here because I could be loyal and win. Um, I know at the end of the day I have to cut Vlyn. He's just gonna be so mad, and I'm gonna feel awful about it because he's like so locked into the loyalty thing and us making final two, and like I'm obviously agreeing with him and like solidifying that, and it's probably not the best jury management, but like when somebody's saying that, you have to like say it back. Um, so yeah. I know I have to cut Blaine. I just don't feel good about it. And but yeah, that's 99% what I'm gonna do.
All right. And considering, so how do you feel like you would handle that conversation in hopes of being able to might still get his jury vote?
I'm just gonna, I think I have to hit home on the jury perception and final words of things, and be like, at the end of the day, I have to play for me, and I'm really sorry, but everyone on the way out has said you're winning the game or that I'm playing the game for you. And if I take you to final HOH, then if I take you to final two, then that just like proves them right. And I really want to win this. I've like put a lot into this game and feel like I've played really well. And I don't want to make a decision at the very end that's gonna fuck that up. So, yeah, I'm gonna hope he can just understand it and respect it from a game level. And hopefully know that I still love and adore him so much. It's just with him being the previous winner, there's a certain weight that he has that, like, getting to the end, a lot of people would be like, well, I can't believe they let the winner get here again. So he might as well, like, clearly he should win again. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of come to it from a game perspective. Obviously throw in a little like personal flair, to like play to his emotions a bit too, and like let him know that like it's strictly a game decision and nothing personal or anything. And I just hope that he can understand it from that perspective and not be too upset about it because I know this means a lot to him too.
Okay, so running through some scenarios of how things might look for you. So if
Yeah.
Blinn goes on to win part three, and he takes you to the end, how do you how do you feel like you're gonna approach that from arguing to the jury?
I would say that um I was very visible throughout the game. I was playing from day one. I had an influence in several votes and um nominations, and like had influence without having power a lot of the game. And I had outside relationships from my main alliance that Vlyn didn't necessarily have. And Vlyn also had the built-in advantage of like you're with three other vets. You're gonna be naturally drawn to work with those people. Whereas I just start on those relationships from the ground up and still manage to get an alliance with every single vet. Um, so I think that's going to be a lot of my main points is just being like, I was a very visible player, but nobody ever targeted me. Meanwhile, Vlyn was always targeted. People were always wanting him out, and he only got to the end because Ari and I protected him because he was part of our core alliance, and that keeping Vlyn around wasn't a mistake for my game because I knew I would become the next big threat, and with Vlyn still in the game, nobody would be targeting me. So I think those are main points I'm going to emphasize and just try and differentiate my game from Vlin's as much as I can and point out how strong my personal relationships were with people and how that put me into a great position throughout the game. And I was literally called out for playing the middle and yet survived a renom unanimously. So I think like stuff like that is really powerful. And I hope that that will appeal to the jury. I know it's going to be an uphill battle just because Vlyn has the perception, but I've worked really hard in my goodbye messages to really display my game fully. And in fact, in the last couple ones, I've even started trying to like point out like, here's why my game is better than Vlyn's. In case we end up in this exact scenario. So I've already planted those seeds, and it'll just be about letting them bloom in a final speech.
All right, interesting. So you so it sounds like you view Blinn as like really big how would you say threat in the jury's eyes.
Uh-huh.
Um, so kind of let's talk a bit about Nathan. Do you feel like you're discounting him a bit? regarding how he might perform in a jury vote?
I don't know, because Nathan's likable and funny. I think I think Nathan has definitely been underestimated in this game. The thing is, the early jurors all went out calling him like clueless, like not playing the game, like D, all this stuff. So I think that's part of why I have an opinion that I could beat him a bit easier. However, obviously Nathan has had a really strong end game. He he won final 7 HOH. He didn't touch the block on my HOH at final 6, and then, he won final 5 veto and final 4 HOH, and that was really powerful. But again, like, he would have gone home if he hadn't won those comps. And it was the same thing with Vlyn, whereas like they needed the comp wins to win and stay around. And while that is impressive, and like comps are a big part of the game, but like in all of the scenarios, like even when I lost the comps that I lost, like as much as it sucked, like I knew I wasn't in danger. So I and I think that's the biggest difference I think I'm gonna try and hit with whichever one of them I sit next to, is that like they're here because of comp wins, and I'm here because of my social positioning and my relationships in the house. And that is why even before Ari fell on her sword for me, Vlyn was already wanting to keep me. That's why Nathan's taking me here. That's why Vlyn didn't put me on the block at 5. That's why, Nathan didn't put me on the block at 7. Like, I I've never been in danger once this whole game. I was only on the block once, and I wasn't even the HOH's target, even though we literally got into a fight. So I think that has to say something for the power of my social game. And at the end of the day, this is a social strategy game, and I would like to think that the socializing and maneuvering will outweigh the physical strength in the jury's eyes. But you never know kind of which jury you're going to get. Some juries really, really respect comp wins, and others don't care. So I'm up against two people who essentially had to comp out to get here. Whereas like I didn't need any of the comps. I probably didn't even need final 6 HOH. And yet I'm still here, and I'm not bad in comps either. Like I held my own in a bunch of these comps, and so I think that is really impressive and speaks for itself. Yeah, so I'm just gonna like drive home the social aspects of my game, and how I think that was stronger than both of them.
All right, very interesting. So let's say if a scenario does occur where maybe Glenn or Nathan were to win final HOH and actually, cut you unexpectedly, um, how do you feel like, who do you feel like would deserve to win there in your eyes as a juror?
Okay, first of all, that's not happening. Um, but I would just vote for Flynn at that point. I mean, I'm the kind of person I really like. Speeches and questioning matter a lot for me. It's just like Flynn was part of the core of the game, and Nathan was just always kind of on the outside. And while it's impressive that he survived on the outside, I think it's more impressive to be kind of in the thick of it and in the middle of the decision making and the strategizing. And at least from what I've seen, I don't see that from Nathan. So for Nathan to get my vote, it would take a very, very strong speech and questioning performance. So, but it's possible, it's doable. But also, like Blinn was somebody I was working close with, so I just know his game better. So yeah, I would be definitely going into the jury leaning to vote for Blinn, even if he's the one who cuts me. Um, and but I would still be open. But also, neither of them are cutting me. So
All right, all right, very interesting. Um, so I guess just lastly, what are you anticipating the jury will ultimately respect? Because, like you mentioned, some juries may really like comp wins, some might not. Some might be wanting an underdog to come in and win it. Some might be wanting to vote for whoever was like most dominant. What are you expecting from this jury?
That's a good question. I mean, the only good thing about Ari going is that she went to jury as like a huge Swan cheerleader and like telling me that she thinks I can beat Vlyn and that played a better game than Vlyn. And she knows my game better than anybody. At this point, she knows literally everything about my game. Um, so I'm hoping with that she can kind of steer them towards appreciating my socializing and strategy over the comp wins. I mean, I could see Hex and Zeeves kind of caring more about the physical thing and kind of being like, okay, well, Vlyn is not only a vet but a past winner and made it to the end. So I kind of think they would respect that and probably lean towards Vlyn. I think I could sway Robin. Robin's not going to care about comps because Robin can't win comps. So I think for Robin, it's just going to come down to social maneuvering and strategizing, which I think I outplayed Evelyn in. And then Hunter and Dre are kind of big question marks for me. Obviously, they went out very not happy with me, but I explained. I think they just didn't understand my position in the game and how good it was and how many solid relationships I had. So I think they're definitely votes that I will have to work on in order to get them to respect my game. But I do think for the most part, it's not going to be a jury that cares about comp wins. I'm thinking they're really going to care about kind of who is at the heart and the center of the game and kind of leading things and controlling things. I do think there's a chance they may like respect the underdog art for Nathan, but there's really just no predicting until like they start asking questions and you can kind of get a vibe for which way they're leaning. So I'm really not sure, but I'm hoping that with Ari there, at least she's going to be leading them in my direction and kind of since she knows my game so intimately and in so much detail, I think she can really outline for them even ahead of my speech just how strongly I've played.
All right, very interesting. And you have a fan question of who
Ooh.
were who were the mothers of the season.
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, Danielle was a literal mother. Kathy thought she was pregnant. Um, Ari is definitely like the mother of the season. I can see. I definitely, yeah. Ari's the mother. Dre kind of mother. Like I know I'm gonna walk out of the spec lounge and y'all are gonna be fucking standing her messy ass. I just know it. Um, and Leah was kind of like a under the radar mother. Leah was my girl. She was a real one. So those are my three mothers. Ari, Dre, and Leah a little bit.
All right, period. Well, it was lovely to get some insight. Good luck in part two.
Thank you.
And
I'm gonna do it like right now.
all right,
All right.
peace.
Thanks. Bye.